so physical. I rely on my fingers.
Welcome everybody. Man, this is great. It is so wonderful to have you guys here, and I appreciate you being here kind of early in the morning, 10 o'clock. You guys, this is great, and look at this turnout. Man, this is amazing. We still have people filing in. All right, so I'm going to do just a couple of questions, and then we'll go to questions from the audience pretty quick here, because I know you guys probably have quite a few. We've got microphones out here. If you guys have questions, please come up to the mics and get in line, and we'll take turns. Please limit it to one question, because I know there's a lot of people here that have things they want to ask these guys. So let's jump in. Star Wars is back, right? I mean, remember? Yeah. How cool is that?
Back with a vengeance.
Back, big time. You know, Ian, you've been here since the first trilogy, and that one of the things that's, I guess, I date myself here a little bit. So I grew up watching Star Wars. I was 6 when the first movie came out. So I was right at that age where it blew my mind and really changed everything for me. And so, especially from that first trilogy, it's amazing. It's so great to be here with you. One of the things I think is remarkable about you and the role that you played, when you did the Emperor in Return, you were actually pretty young, right?
I was a kid of 39, I think.
Right. I say young because I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
So
No, I had to become a 120-year-old overnight.
Yeah, young for a
It's not that difficult, really. You know the right things to take. It's fine.
Right, and so it's kind of interesting that it worked out that then with the prequel trilogy, you had aged naturally enough to just play yourself without prosthetics this time, right?
Exactly. It was nice to go forwards in order to go backwards, and backwards in order to go forwards. It was very zany, but it wasn't George's plan. It all happened by a whole series of coincidences, but lucky ones for me. Oh, and by the way, welcome to the dark side.
So, in a lot of ways, the start of the prequel trilogy in '99, Ray, that's where you got involved. But also the following year with X-Men, when you got involved, you were Toad in X-Men. That was that '99-2000 period. Lord of the Rings came out. That was really kind of this resurgence of the mainstreaming of all of science fiction and genre fiction and superhero stuff that we're at today, 16 years later, and you guys are right there at the cutting edge of this resurgence of, all of this stuff. That's a pretty amazing thing. What was that like for you, coming in? You had those two movies right there in a row, back to back, 99 and 2000, now getting involved in this sort of thing, coming from a martial arts background.
Just reliving my childhood, everything that I fantasized as a kid. I didn't really read the comics, I just looked at the pictures and cartoons. And wanted to just reenact things that I would see, and your imagination would go wild with moves that you'd want to do. And I got to work on Sleepy Hollow in between, before Phantom Menace came out, and got to work with Ian.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So that was like mind-blowing for me, and to work with Tim Burton, and the costume was great. And I was reading the Lord of the Rings book at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so that whole time, it was just very spooky and mystery for me at the time.
It was almost like a perfect storm of all these things coming together at that time. Now, obviously you come from a martial arts background, a very extensive martial arts background. The lightsaber duel scene in Phantom Menace is often talked about as just one of the great choreographed sword fights in all of cinematic history. So I'm curious, because of your background, how much of a role did you actually play in the choreography in that scene?
I was 22 and very grateful to be allowed to play this villain. I always knew I wanted to do stunts and acting and action, and kind of like Jackie Chan.
Right.
And I was always pinching myself, waiting for the day that I was going to get fired. I just couldn't wait to get in front of the camera and be Darth Maul. And so it was an exciting time for me. And Nick Gillard was the stunt coordinator, so he was like the master as well. Ian's the master. But with Nick, I just listened, and you knew when to sort of speak up or show a move. And I remember Nick saying to me, because I wanted to show some flamboyant twists and spins with lightsaber, and he said, "Look, Ray, you're playing Darth Maul, so anything you want to do as Maul, just bring it to the table. So it was really nice to, and it was a team effort. We all worked together on it, and I was just on a ride. I was enjoying it.
It's a spectacular sequence, and it really is.
Thank you.
Ian, your role in Venom it had to have been difficult. You're playing almost two characters essentially, and that had to be difficult. But you pulled it off flawlessly. It was brilliant.
Well, it was very intriguing. I mean, that's when you know you're somebody pretending to be somebody else. That's always very, very exciting to play. And George just said from the outset on the prequels, he said he's just a straightforward politician. Can you put those two phrases together? Anyway, he did, and I knew what he meant. He said, just be Mr. Nice Guy, like they all are, and then explode into something else, like they all do.
It's kind of an interesting character arc too, the whole Palpatine role. That especially in political season, it makes you I don't know, you rethink that role. It makes you think about things just a little bit. I'm not going there. Just throw that
You
out.
can if you like, up to a point.
You know where I'm going. Okay, so let me ask you this. We talked about Star Wars coming back, and things are different now in that, especially with the new movie coming out with Rogue One, this opens up the possibility. They're doing a young Han Solo movie of setting films at various points in the Star Wars chronology, which of course opens up the possibility for some of your characters to come back.
Oh yeah.
What do you
Well,
think
it seems the Empire is very much in evidence. So maybe one day we'll be called back. You'll be summoned from the dead. I don't see why not.
Well,
and, to perform our natural functions, if that's the right expression. But I have no news for you at the moment. But I've got my phone in my pocket.
so you are willing and available if that were to come up.
Right.
Well, Ray, Darth Maul is officially alive again in canon. Right? You guys know this, of course, right? Which makes it, even more possible. Maybe they could do something. I know you've been quoted as saying you'd love to, to revisit Darth Maul if you got the chance. Is that a possibility? Do you think?
There's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always a possibility.
Yeah.
And yes.
Would you prefer to do a younger, sort of an origin story of Darth Maul, or you want to do later Darth Maul with the robotic legs?
I
What do you
don't
think?
care as long as it's me.
Yeah.
I actually thought Darth Maul was never coming back until I watched Clone Wars.
Right.
And I've said this before, but I said to my son, I said, buddy, Daddy's going to have to start training harder again. So it's nice to be able to, it's like the golden carrot, and of course, I always think about coming back as Snake Eyes and hopefully do that. It's nice to come back for it a second time. And so I'd love to come back as Toad. I'd love to come back with all the characters because you've had time to digest, to think about it. And of course, I would love to be Darth Maul. I'd love to do it if it was me, and it better be me. I hope so. I'd love to, the shirtless, tattooed. It'd be nice. And I like what they've done in Rebels with the character as well. I like seeing that.
So you've been training? Because
I
you're
always
shirtless.
train. I'm always training.
Just making sure. Yeah.
I'm training when I'm picking this up.
There you go. All right, so if you guys were able to revisit the roles, is there any particular period that you'd like to do, Ian? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. In the early days before George decided to move on and sell the company, there was talk about, but there's no new information coming up, I'm sorry to say, about the evil emperor's backstory, because I had imagined he was just a solid block of nastiness. But apparently, like us all, he had a troubled psychological childhood. So the only thing is I am now too old to explore that. There's the irony. But I'm sure there are other actors around who could do that. Then maybe I could take over a bit later and so on. But that would be fascinating. But the great thing about the anthology series, Rogue One, etc., is that they're set during that period, when he's coming to grips with what it is to enjoy power. So there is potentially a lot to explore.
It seems like a series with the Emperor and Vader hunting down the Jedi would be, or maybe something like that would be pretty cool. Dark, but
yes. Well, there've been a few cartoon versions of the possibilities of that, which I think you probably see. And their relationship has been realized very well in comic terms. But I think think it could probably be even more interesting in serious terms when they have, because they sort of have equal power. And when two people are sort of in that position, then a kind of rivalry naturally develops, and that would be interesting to explore.
All right. Well, I know we're going to get a lot of Star Wars questions, so let me ask you one that's not Star Wars. What projects are you guys working on now? Since Star Wars, we don't know about that, right? What do you have coming up?
Nothing. I'm unemployed.
How's that possible?
I'm working on myself.
You don't have anything in the hopper, huh?
There's hopefuls.
Okay.
There's possibilities, and there's always something that may happen. And someone say, "Hey, I'd love you to do this. Can you read this and read that?" So there's stuff. You know, I'm excited about the possibility of things that may happen.
Cool. Ian?
I've just started to work on a new television series which we're filming in Prague, about which I am not allowed to say nothing, so I'm going to say a little. I have to be careful because my contract could be terminated, and probably I could, you know, the way things are these days. It's called Britannia, and it's set in ancient Britain when the Romans invaded for the second time. So there are Celts and Romans and Druids, and that's as far as I can go, really. But we're all being Celts and Romans and Druids in very nice parts of the Czech Republic. So I reckon you have to wait about a year to see the beginnings of that. But you know, could be a new exciting series. Let's hope.
Okay, cool. On a personal note, my background is actually in Roman archaeology, so
right.
I am
You'll love it.
yes, so I am very intrigued. That sounds awesome, actually. Okay, all right. Well, I know we got lots of questions, so let's pitch this out to the audience. We got a bunch of people here in line. Go ahead. Yep. Who's first there?